Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we got another shop talk video. Today's topic is going to be about mechanics making their own tools or modifying existing tools to work on a particular job. Now before we go ahead and begin on this topic, guys, if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Smash that like button because it definitely helps the channel out. And with that said, let's go ahead and get into today's video. So mechanics making their own tools or modifying an existing tool, guys, is not uncommon. It's actually very common in the field. I've done it myself so many times, and I'm actually going to show you guys two examples here. Now the two examples I'm going to show you is already a tool that I had that I modified to work a lot better or for it to do a certain task. And the other one is going to be a concept, an idea that I had for a way to kind of shortcut something that, to be quite honest, didn't quite work out. And I do have a video on it. We did record it, so I will be sharing this with you and you guys will see me through my failure. But it's okay because we had fun building it. But either way, to get into this, in my career, I've had to do quite a few things. I've had to, take wrenches and shave them down to thin them out to fit them somewhere. I've had to bend wrenches and then weld them and just do a whole bunch of different things just to try to make a specialty tool to fit anything. I have a bunch of these tools laying around the shop, guys. I did want to go ahead and try looking for some better examples than the two I have here, but unfortunately, just because I want to film this video, I don't want to tear into all my drawers, because I have a drawer where I have all of them, and I have a bunch of like nuts and bolts and stuff in there too. It's a mix mash. I got to clean it out. So the first thing that I'm gonna share with you guys and show you is a tool that I made that would have worked out good, but it didn't quite work out. And what I did here in the video, this video will hopefully be out before this one is, but I took a old radiator cap for a Chevy, and you guys can see here, and we drilled it out. We installed a tire stem, and I was going to use this as a cooling system pressure tester. Now the concept of this failed because there's no way to seal. If I had modified it a little differently when I did a teardown video on this explaining it, if I had saved the inner piece, we might have made this work. But this just goes to show you this is a tool that I created to try to test out my cooling system if it had any leaks. Now on this one, I'm actually quite grateful it didn't work out, because you can get into a lot of trouble doing it this way, especially if you run like 40 psi of shop line pressure. If you even, sometimes it's more, guys, but just an example. Let's say you run your shop hose to this and boom, 40 psi goes through your cooling system. That's a kaboom. Your system's done. Your radiator's gonna probably explode, or you're gonna burst a hose or something. You're gonna do some sort of damage. So even though this was a concept, if I were to use it, I know how the cooling system works, so I would be very careful when I would use it. But either way, this is just one example. It's not uncommon. Not for this specific item, but any item. We mechanics like to make some tools to fit whatever we're doing. Now in this scenario, this tool was made up. If I didn't have a cooling system pressure tester, this would have worked great. And this can still work if I modify my tank and do a couple extra things. Like I could have gotten this thing to work, but like I said, at the end of the day, I have a cooling system pressure tester. This is more of a fun idea that I had, that I thought I'd try to see if it would work, and if it had worked, it would possibly help you guys out in the community. But it was a flop, and it is what it is. At least we tried. So now that I'm gonna set that aside, I'm gonna show you a pair of pliers that I've had. Now these are cheap pliers to begin with. I think I paid like 15 bucks for two of them. They're needle nose pliers that have a 45-degree bend in them. Now this set, if you guys can see, just like any cheap pliers, you will notice they have a split in the middle. I don't know how well the camera's picking that up. So what I decided to do with these is I was working on a job where I had to remove a hose, and I needed to get my clamp off my hose. Now I have a special set of clamp pliers. They're kind of a square rounded of cut. You guys have seen them in a lot of my videos. Those weren't working. It was such a tight area, and I believe the car that I was doing this on was it was on a Ford 5.4 liter. It was a truck, and it was that rear coolant hose that goes underneath the intake. It had a little clamp I was trying to get to. So since I couldn't use my traditional tool, and this tool's already a little broken, and you guys tell it's a little loose here, what I did is I took my grinder wheel or my cutoff wheel, and I don't know how well you guys are gonna see it, but I made some grooves and some channels, and you can probably see it a little better this way. And what I also wound up doing is I also made it a little thinner. I shaved down the tip, and being able to do that, I was able to get in where I needed, open this up, clamp the clamp, get it off, and then afterwards I was able to get my hose off. This was already an existing tool that I had, and I modified it. Now the tools that I like to modify, I don't know about you guys out there, if there's any techs watching this, I'm sure you guys have been in this position where you have to take a tool and sacrifice it. I do not like to sacrifice new tools that'll work. If it's an expensive tool, guys, or something named brand that I use, I will try not to sacrifice it. I typically have, you know, some old tools laying around, like some old Craftsman sockets and wrenches and things like that, that I've always, you know, modified if I needed to modify them, or just tools like this that are inexpensive. I've even gone out and bought an inexpensive tool just to modify. I remember once I needed a 1/2-inch wrench to remove a distributor, and I couldn't find the distributor wrenches that they sell, so I just went out and bought one, and, you know, heated it up, bent it, and I was able to use it in the same exact fashion, minus using the ratchet. I just used a screwdriver on the circle end to get it off, and it worked. I have that tool here somewhere, I just can't find it. I wish I could have found that, because that would have been the best example, but unfortunately I couldn't find it earlier really quickly. But just goes to show you guys, we do wind up making modifications. I myself, I find it really difficult for me to modify a tool that's working, that's a name brand. If I have something cheap that I know I could easily replace, I probably will modify it. Or if I have a tool that's broken that I don't really use as much anymore, then I'll do it. Like, I'll give you one example. I have modified a couple Craftsman tools that I have, even though they have a lifetime warranty. When Sears went out of business, Lowe's said that they're not going to warranty certain things, and this was one of those items that I couldn't warranty. So what I did was I modified it and made it as basically a big rod to give me more leverage on my ratchets. Now this was formerly a torque wrench, and they weren't warrantying it. It broke at the head, so I tore it apart. Out of the head portion, I got a nice 1/2-inch short ratchet, so I made 2 tools out of this one tool that broke. And then what I wound up doing with the broken end, like the longer end, I basically modified it to fit any wrench, so I can just get some extra leverage if I need to. And sometimes that's the way it works. You can do little nifty things like that. And those tools will be modified day in and day out depending on how you need them. Because I know the ratchet head on that torque wrench that broke that I just told you guys about, I actually wound up modifying it a few times to make it work on different jobs for me. So it just goes to show you that, you know, never throw out an old tool that's broken, because sometimes you may need it. Now, I'm not going to dedicate a lot of space to old tools in my shop. I have one drawer. I just throw them all in there, and that's why it's hard for me to find what I was looking for, because it's just one massive drawer filled with a bunch of stuff. So I got to go through it and clean it up one of these days. I always say that, but I probably never do or never will, but I'll try to get to it. But regardless to say, guys, it is very common for mechanics to modify stuff or make new tools. These are 2 examples of them, stuff that I've done recently. I just wanted to share that with you guys so you guys have a better understanding. And sometimes this is required and you will have to do it. So with that said, please comment, like, and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel grow. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.